Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you again for joining us. Again, my name is LaShondra Robinson. I am the Executive Director of the wonderful organization called You Can of Memphis, where we are focused on leadership development and character building, which is more into our bullying prevention. Today is like no other day. I am so excited to have such a wonderful young man who's been doing amazing things in college. But before he even went to college, he was doing amazing things here in the city of Memphis with so many accolades. I can't even name them all. But what I can say is I met this young man some years back. And he actually was one of our students who were students rising mad, making a difference. And at that time, he was a younger guy. He probably was about 16 or so, maybe 15 or 16. It's been that long. And then I knew that he was going to be an outstanding young man who was going to truly be making a difference here in our community. But he has not just made a difference in our community here in Memphis, Tennessee, but he has made a difference at his school. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself. So today's topic, we are talking about transitioning from high school to college. Now, as I said before, normally we will be in our schools and we will be talking to our seniors in regards to getting ready for college. Although we know right now this pandemic is here and they're unable to actually physically be in a classroom setting for us. So we're still making a way, thank God, to technology that we are using it so we can make sure that our students are getting the valuable information that they need. So the topic again is transitioning from high school to college. And we know that that can definitely be a life-changing situation. I have a daughter in college as a freshman year, and man, it's totally different for me because I cannot ask all the questions that I want from the principal or from the dean. I have to go through her, and she is being quiet like a mouse. And I'm like, oh no, I need information. And I can't get it, but I have to really depend upon her to give me all the information that she's supposed to give me. And I trust her. So parents, make sure that you trust your child. And if you don't, let's work on that during this time frame. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the fabulous, the wonderful, the handsome, the man that is making a difference here in the city as well in other places, Mr. Christopher Wilson. Yeah!
Thank
Welcome,
you.
welcome.
Thank you once again for having me, Miss LaShondra. Again, my name is Christopher Wilson. I am a rising sophomore at the University of Richmond, located in Richmond, Virginia. And as this talk is about, I'll be talking more about my transition from high school to college, since I am near the end of my freshman year. And I mean, I look back on when I started and I'm like, where did the time go? So they don't lie when they tell you that your freshman year flies by fast. So let's begin with that point first.
I guess so because I've been seeing my freshman, and I guess she's a sophomore because she started at the same time that you started.
Right.
Wow.
One of the things that I do at the University of Richmond is that I made a 4-year civic engagement commitment to the community. And so what they call it, this program is called being a Bonner Scholar. And so basically throughout my first year at Richmond, I explored working with various nonprofit organizations in the community and also doing various service projects. So I've become very acclimated to just like the environment that is now like my home away from home now. And so Richmond is close and near to my heart. So yes.
Wow, wow. See, I told you guys, he is doing it everywhere that he goes. He touches lives, and I love it. I love it. So we're just gonna jump into our questions. So let's go with the first question. You are in college now. How
Yes.
much different is it from high school?
So you have a lot of free time. I vividly remember on my first day of college, I had a 9 a.m. class. It was 3 days a week, 50 minutes. So I get out of my 9 o'clock class at 9:50, and my next class doesn't begin until 1:30 p.m. So I'm
Mm.
like, what do I do for the day? Like until my next class? Like I don't have that much homework. And then it's like, not really involved in anything yet. So it's not It's not like how it was in high school where I had to attend meetings or meet with, teachers after school to help with projects and things of that nature. So I'm like, what do I do? So as
Mhm.
time moves on, I later filled in that time by doing homework, catching up on other assignments, and also like becoming more involved with the other and taking advantage of the campus resources that Richmond had to offer. Secondly, I'd say that college is a lot of reading and a lot of writing papers.
Mm.
So if you are, how should I say this? Uh, Not looking forward to that, I would say start mentally preparing now, because I remember during my first semester, so last year in 2019, during the fall semester, 1 week I was assigned from all my classes combined 200 pages of reading. And for as far as like writing papers, I had to write like a 16-page paper along with other writing assignments that were pretty lengthy. So that's just my experience. Everybody's experience with the reading and writing is different, but I believe all of us can attest to say that your professors are going to require that you come ready with the critical thinking, reading, and writing skills. That's pivotal to your college career.
Oh, wow.
I'd say that the most valuable thing that I've gotten out of this transition would be that you really have more autonomy over your education. So whether that be, you really, when you go to college, your professors aren't necessarily going to go to you. So you have to really take that initiative and start building and sustaining those relationships with them. Because outside of them teaching courses and things of that nature, they're already involved in so many different things on campus, and they're great connectors and recommenders for different programs. So I highly recommend like stopping by just to say hello sometimes so that they'll get to know your face and things of that nature. Also, professors do not like excuses. When you get to college, they treat you like an adult. So if you miss class, if you don't do your reading and you don't do your homework, they will call you out in class. Or like if they see you on campus, they will stop you and say, "Hey, where were you today?" So I know that isn't the same story for everybody, but since I go to a fairly small liberal arts college or university, you see your professors kind of like everywhere. So, and some of them even live on campus. So that makes things a lot worse. So, and then I would say also, you really have to learn how to practice being financially stable,
Mm.
because mom, dad, sister, brother, whoever is the head of your household, they aren't always going to be around to help you get out of the financial pitfall. So I know one thing that I found very useful is that I plan out my monthly expenses per every month. And I make sure that, I'm not going over my limit, and then I'm also saving as I go. So that when you do incur fees, which it happens to all of us, you can take care of those things, because I mean, this is part of becoming a young adult.
Man, you have gave so much information in that one little question that I gave. The one thing well, several things that I got out of that. One was making sure that you understand your reading, writing, and arithmetic. Because there's going to be a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and if you were having issues and troubles in high school, then you definitely need to get some type of tutor while you're in college. And I love when you talked about the finances. We did have April come in last week, and she was discussing about college finances and scholarships and things of that sort, financial aid. And sometimes, like you said, those pitfalls come in that are unexpected, and you want to be able to handle it, and your parents aren't always available to do so, so you want to make sure that you budget
Especially if you're
accordingly.
an out-of-state student. Right, right.
Yeah, because those out-of-state fees can definitely get you.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So question number two, what was your hardest challenge when leaving high school preparing for college?
For me, my biggest challenge was, since I attend a predominantly white institution,
Hmm.
I didn't know how it would feel to be the minority on campus. And
Hmm.
so to give you some context, this semester, and I've also, like my peers, they've experienced similar things in their classes. This semester, I'm the only Black kid in my accounting class, the only Black kid. Granted, there are other people of color in my class, but it's not too many of us. But for the
Hmm.
most part, it's majority white. And so Growing up, I've always heard people talk about, especially Black people talk about their experiences with attending predominantly white institutions. And while there are many benefits to attending those institutions, there are some drawbacks. And so I know it's just various things such as like having to advocate for myself more than my white counterparts, or, when someone says something that to them isn't racially offensive, you having to, call them out on it and say like, hey, like, you know, that kind of felt a little personal what you said there. So in just other campus wide events and things that happen, it really opens up your eyes to a lot of things. So I would say that was one of the hardest challenges, was not exactly knowing what I know now in attending a predominantly white institution as a young Black intelligent male.
Diversity. That's the first thing that came to my mind, diversity. And if you're not used to that, then that's going to be hard for you. And that is a challenge, especially if you're coming from an all African American school that may be in low poverty area where you're used to your culture being that particular way. Now you're going into a different culture and you have to adjust to it accordingly. And some people aren't able to do so. So let me ask you this: could that make a person feel like that they don't belong at that school and make them want to drop out?
It can. And I remember in my leadership in the social sciences course that I took last semester, we actually studied that. And, belongingness is always, it's been something that social scientists have studied for tons of years. And there is data that proves that, when people are, socially neglected from activities and just other things that have almost in a way been institutionalized and systematized, it can affect not only a student's like well-being, but also their academic performance. And yes, it can even push them to various other, tragedies. So to answer your question, yes, it can
So
make a person drop out of school.
do you regret, and this is just a question, do you regret not going to a HBCU college?
I wouldn't say that I not regret. I am comfortable and I gladly would like choose the school that I go to now, just because of the resources and the opportunities that have been
Mhm.
made available to me, and just my honestly, some of the opportunities that I took advantage of were just my first semester of my freshman year. To give an example, would be, my school paid for my own like international passport, which
Mm.
usually costs people like over $200. And, they just had a passport fair, and it was like, if you want a passport, you just pick the size book you want, and we'll pay for it. So I'm really grateful for the opportunities I've been afforded at my university. So I wouldn't say I regret my decision in choosing or not choosing to go to HBCU.
I like that. The resources are definitely different. That's what stands out for me. So now going into this particular college, what did you go in expecting and what was reality?
Yes. So I know the biggest thing that was I guess a culture shock maybe, was, growing up, I always watched these like TV shows where people would start their like transition to college, and within the first few weeks, like they'd already have like a tightly knit group of friends and things of that
Mhm.
nature. And so in reality, it doesn't always work out like that. Many of my peers, we can attest to this. And like, to honestly, you really don't really make those intimate connections with your, I guess, peers until I'd say like close to your sophomore year. At
Hmm.
least that's how it's been at my university. And it's just probably because everyone is like, there's a lot of like change that's happening. Some people, this is their first time leaving from college or going to college. For other people, this is their, for people like me, like I've already been away from home several times. So I was kind of used to, being independent, being on my own, taking care of my business. Whereas some of my peers, that may not have been the case. Some people that were raised in like social bubbles and things of that nature. So everyone's still trying to figure out, well, how do I interact with you and you and you while still taking care of my own self? And like, you all are kind of like looking across the room at each other like, why are they looking at me like this? So yeah, there's a lot of change that goes into it. So overall, I'd say like be patient with your friendships and know that they will come in time. and that, you know, the people who are meant to be around you, they will come. You just have to take your time and just focus on the goals that, you know, you set for yourself when you attended this institution or, you know, university or college, because the goal is to graduate and to, you know, further your education or whatever you may do with it, not necessarily to make friends. That's just a benefit of college. So yes.
Man, that sounds like some words from a parent. Parents always say, now I sent you to school to get good grades, not to make friends. I need to get my money is gonna be worth it.
Yes.
So it sounds like that your parents brought you up in a good environment so you can be able to accept the differences and then understand what's important, where your goals are, and not get discouraged, because for you, I know personally, you are a social butterfly. And so you're,
Yeah.
as much as you say that you're shy, yeah. We all say up until the point where we have to put our best foot forward, and I swear you shine bright like a diamond for real. So you are out there as a social butterfly, and it becomes a little bit different. So what 5 to 10 tips can you give to students to help ease the transition?
Yes. So number one, never be afraid to ask questions because they can open up doors of opportunity for you. I was raised in a household where you always ask questions. You never assume anything, ask. It will save you a lot of trouble, and it will save you from making mistakes that may be very difficult to untangle in the long run. Secondly, I'd say become an active member in at least 1 to 3 clubs or organizations on campus during your first year.
Mm.
Please do not become active in like 10 organizations during your first semester of freshman year. That, I'm telling you right now, you are going to be undergoing so many different changes and things of the nature that you probably just won't have time to dedicate your commitment to those organizations as much as you like. And then those organizations could become distractions from you. You really don't want that happening during your freshman year, first semester especially. Thirdly, I'd say don't study in your room. Like, I enjoy studying in the student union on campus because it allows you, not only does it allow you, or it has allowed me to, you know, see my friends throughout the day and talk with them, but it's also been an opportunity for me to meet new people, you know? So don't study in your room, like get out there, like study in the library with friends, or like go sit out on the patio on campus and study because it's nice outside. So enjoy it while it lasts. And then I'd also say invest in a planner or some other type of organizer to keep track of your assignments that are doing your classes. Professors will not remind you. Some of them will, but they will probably not remind you if you have a research paper that's due, a test is coming up. They may remind you like, you know, a few days before it's happening, but by then you have probably, I'd say at max 48 hours to prepare, you know? So really make sure on your first day, go through your syllabus, write down everything that's due, and try to keep a mental calendar too of like, okay, I know 2 weeks from now, there's gonna be a test. So I need to, you know, go ahead and start writing my notes in a certain way so that when I come back to them, it's easier for me to go over and review everything that we've covered in the class so far.
Mhm.
Check your school email frequently. I check my school email, I would say 20 times a day. Even today, while we aren't on campus, they send you so many emails. I think my school starts sending us emails like as early as 5 a.m. about different things happening on campus. And so it's very imperative that you check your emails because professors, they'll even email you over the weekends to say, hey, you know, I want this assignment to be due on this date instead of this date, or hey, you know, I just thought of something else that I want you all to do, you know, check this out and things of that nature. And so they're going to hold you accountable for that if you don't check it.
Mm.
Also, I'd say that if something is going on personally in your life, this was something that I had to overcome and really part of adulting is, you know, be transparent with your professors. If you need to take a day off because, you know, I know for me, like I personally lost someone in my family this semester. So, you know, having to communicate that with professors, it meant a lot because they showed their support for me. They gave me gracious extensions on all of my assignments. And you know, they really show that like we care for you. You know, they aren't necessarily always concerned about your grades. They know that you're people too, and that you have lives, you have emotions, you have feelings. So, you know, whether that be mental health or you're ill, communication is key. Because if you don't tell them, they don't know. So they're going to expect that you turn in your stuff on time. So it's imperative to, like I said again, let them know. Communication is so vital in college. And then also shout out to like the people of color watching this video, especially the Black people who will attend like a predominantly white institution. Advocate for yourself. I cannot preach that enough. Please make sure that no matter what, you fight for yourself, whether that be your grades, whether that be, representation of your color on campus, fight for yourself on campus. Because at predominantly white institutions, it's very difficult for people of color, Black people especially, to really have their voices heard and to even have a seat at the table. So never be afraid. Do not allow your white counterparts to shame you or to make you feel embarrassed for the color of your skin. Be proud of that and be proud of the cultural heritage that you're a part of, and let them know that I deserve to be here too. I worked just as hard as you did and I earned my spot here. And last but not least, I say that if and when you fail, which we all fail at some point, so just be prepared for that, get back up, ask questions to identify your mistakes, go to office hours and or study with your peers, and then keep pushing forward. You and all of my other like college peers can attest to this. You aren't always going to pass every test. You aren't always going to make a good grade on a paper. You aren't always going to, especially during the first weeks of a class, maybe get the grades that you want to see. But that doesn't mean you are supposed to give up, okay? Because I think for most people, I can basically sum this up by saying, don't get so caught up in the debacle in the short run that you miss out on the long-term investment you've been working towards for most of your life, which this would be, passing the class, graduation, furthering your education or starting a job right after college, or even, creating your own business or, becoming an entrepreneur and things of that nature. So don't be so focused on your failures that you lose sight of the successes. Even count the baby steps of things that you're improving upon. It really goes a long way.
Man, you really have been adulting for real. There's some advice for adults too in their own corporate workplace, in their own entrepreneurship, and even in life in general. So kudos to you, snap, snap. I have to give it up to you because you were like inspiring me just at that moment. I was like, yes, I understand. I get you. I get you. So, thank you so much for that information. That's a lot. And even to help out with parents, which leads me into the last question, but I do have a bonus question. Aha. April gave me a bonus question for you. This question is not the bonus, but it's the last question from what I gave you. What are some tips that you can provide for the parents, like myself, to ease the tension of our child going to college?
Yes. So I would say the number one thing would be support your child when they both fail and succeed. So reason why I say that is because, especially when they fail, please support them. Because like my mama, she's my loudest cheerleader, and it always makes me feel good that like even when I fail, she tells me to look at the situation as a life lesson, and then like she even takes out time to. And it sometimes I've called her like 11 p.m. I'm like, Mama, I don't know. And she's like, okay, let's just talk this out. Let's figure out a solution. She's like, okay, here's what I want you to do tomorrow, and then we'll like go back and forth about what I'm going to do for tomorrow, and we'll make a plan, and then I feel all better. So like I said, like be your child's cheerleader, and also when they fail, don't make them feel bad. Like now sometimes I understand, you have to give them a little talking to. But after that, like coach them through it, because if you don't, when they fail again, they aren't going to tell you. Mm-hmm. And that can become really problematic when you finally do become aware of the situation. You're like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I could have helped you and stuff. And then they're going to respond, well, last time I told you, you got really upset, and so I didn't really feel comfortable coming to you. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, support them both when they succeed and when they fail. Secondly, it's okay to check in with your child, but please give them space. During the first year, it can be very overwhelming. It's not that we don't love y'all, it's just it can be a very overwhelming when mama or daddy or whoever is like, you better call me at 3-hour intervals. You better text me. You better send me a picture of what you're wearing. You better send me a picture of your lunch, your dinner, and everything. And you better text me before you go to bed. It can be very overwhelming, especially when you're trying to figure out, and adapt to your new normal for the next 4 years. You really, I'm not going to say that you don't have time to do all those things, but you want to be present in the moment, because it's where you're going to be at for the next 4 years of your life. So every second counts. So whether that be, talking to this person who could become your lifelong best friend, or, instead of looking at your phone, looking up to see, a professor who's doing this amazing research project that you'd love to take part in, you don't want to miss out on those opportunities. So you really want to be focused on where you're at in the moment. And also, I'd say for holidays, I know my family, they always make them special for me, and I'd encourage every household to do so. Make it really special when your child comes home for a holiday. I know for me, like, I'll come home and I'm like, Mama, I want this, and that for Thanksgiving dinner, or Mama, I want this, and that for Christmas dinner, because after a while you get tired of the dining hall food, and sometimes you're like, oh, mom, dad, or whoever, we never did go to this new restaurant, while I was home. Can we go now? Say yeah, find a way to do it. It makes a world of a difference, and it makes them feel special. And even if they want to sit at home all day and Netflix and just sleep all day, do it with them. Because it can be really, when going, especially the first year, you're still trying to figure out, like I said, your new normal. So sleep schedules are going to be thrown off, especially near exam season time. Like I think the first time I came home, which was for Christmas break, I think for the first 24 to 48 hours I slept. And my mom she's a witness. She was like, he slept all day. I'm worried that something's wrong. Nothing was wrong. I was just really tired. So like I said, I encourage everyone to make holidays special for your child, because it'll mean a lot to them. And then it gives us something to talk about when they go back to college. Last but not least, most universities, they have email lists for parents to sign up so that they can stay up to date on anything that's happening campus wide. And those emails a lot, because she'll even send up to me. She's like, did you read this? And I'm like, yes, ma'am, they sent it to me too. And so it makes the parent, it will make you all rather feel more included in your child's education. So I'd encourage you all, and even if they have any parent organizations on campus, become involved in them, because you'll really begin to connect and really see, like, what your child saw in this organization, or rather this university or college that they applied to. So your eyes, they'll be opened up to more things in the future if you have other children going to college.
Whew. I'm saying that's hard as a parent. I'm not gonna even lie to you. I know I was blowing up my daughter's phone, and I just talked to her the other day, and she's at home now. But I just said, "Do you not like me?" And she was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Cause you don't talk to me." She was like, "Mom, you call me every 3 hours talking about nothing." And she was like, "Just chill out. It's not that crucial." And at first I felt offended, but then I thought about it and I was like, okay, I get it. So it is difficult for parents who has their child going in for the first year, and we just don't know. So thank you so much for that information. Thank you for the encouraging words to let me know that it's okay. If she's okay, she still loves me. She just needs her space. And I don't want to give it to her, but I am going to give it to her. Now, here's your bonus question. Are you ready for it?
Ready for it.
All right. What do you know now that you wish you knew in high school? And if you can sum that up in about 1 minute.
Great question. I would say that's a really great question. Oh, okay. So if something that I know now that I wish I would have known back then
Mhm.
is that it's college isn't always going to be what you see in the media and on TV. It isn't always going to be fun. Oftentimes, there are going to be really difficult moments in which you're going to have to make decisions. And as we know, decisions, they can have, long-term effects. And so I guess something to sum up, I would say really just falling into this, becoming more of a adult throughout my college career, that I never really knew how much I'd grow during just my first year as a college student. And I look back from when I started in August, and I look now in April where we're finishing up the semester, and I'm like, wow, like I've changed so much in positive ways, a lot. I've become really mature in a lot of ways. So I would say don't be scared of growth, because it's growth. That's something that my uncle told me on my 14th, or rather 18th birthday, and I always hold that close to my heart.
That means a lot. You have some great parents, you have a great foundation, and you have great support system. So I know for a fact that students going from high school to college, they're definitely going to need a lot of support, whether it's from family members, from friends, from their mentors, or even from their teachers. That is one thing that I would definitely say that they need, is going to be the support system. Well, Chris, we have ran out of time. As you heard the bell ring, like it's time to go to the next class. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule on this Good Friday, spending some time with us to really kind of talk to our students in regards to transitioning from high school to college, because we know that's so important for them right now, and we want to make sure that they're going to be successful. They're going to have all the right resources, and most importantly, that they're going to have people that's going to be there for them. So thank you again. Now, if they have any questions or say they want to follow you, do you have any way that they can follow you?
Yes. So if they'd like, they can. I would say most people will probably like the social media route if they want to contact me, probably.
Yeah.
So they can follow me. I'm on Instagram, and so I can send that information to you. Would you like for me to say it out loud as well, or?
Yes, please.
Okay, so my Instagram, if I can remember it, I believe it's at Christopher D. Wilson JR_1. So yes, if they send me a message, I'll do my best to respond.
Okay. And we'll also put that in our link as we post this out so people can definitely follow you. But follow us too. We're at the letter
Already.
U, CAN of Memphis.org on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where you can definitely find all of our videos. And you definitely want to look out on our website to see some of the things that we have done in the past, some things that we are doing in the future, and currently what we are doing now. And that is also UCAN of Memphis.org. We're very consistent with our name. Let me repeat it again. The letter U, CAN of Memphis.org for our website, and for all social media platforms, it's just UCAN of Memphis. Again, my name is LaShonda Robinson. We had the great time speaking with Mr. Christopher Wilson. Yeah!
Thank you so
And
much.
until next time, we will see you with another great topic on, what do we call this now? We said You Can Thursdays. I think that's right. Yep. We're making some cool name for it. But right now, that's what it's going to be. All right. Until next time, we will see you later. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye, Chris.
Bye.